Hey readers, it's Lori. Welcome back. This is Books, Ink, and Paper, and this is my bookshelf. I'm so excited. The boys came over on Saturday while we were back in New Orleans, and they have almost completed Unit 1. Now, the only thing that's left is this trim in the front here. And of course, there's trim on this side too, and then we have to do the um, crown molding and the baseboards, but we have shelves all the way up. Let me see if I can show you. I know. So see, we have to do a little bit of extra stuff there, but oh my gosh, I'm so happy that this part is complete. I can't even tell you how happy I am. I am just squealing with delight. So most of yesterday I spent bringing books in here to shelve them, and I did a little bit more of that this morning, and I'll probably do a little bit more tonight. There's nothing past there, and there's a little bit of room in the shelf up there. I'm not going to do a bookshelf tour yet because I'm going to probably change this up but once the second unit comes in. But for the most part, this is all thrillers, mysteries, horror. Lisa's shelf is this one right here for now. And then I have all my book of the months on this bottom shelf right here. And they are organized by genre for the most part. And then on the bottom shelf here, I have kids' books and young adult books and just stuff that they could grab easily when they're ready to grab a book. That is currently what's happening. And then there's some other, I think there's a few others I can shelf in here that I just haven't gone through yet. And then I also have a lot of historical fiction, which will go in the other shelf likely. That will take up a good bit of space, but I think I'm going to have some room to buy books to fill the shelves. I really do. I think I'm going to have some room based on what we have going on now anyway. Now, what I came in to talk to you about today, ironically, is not buying books. So I have made it officially 1 month without buying a single book, not an ebook, not a audio book, nothing. I have credits from Libro. I have a credit from Book of the Month. They're just sitting there and they're going to just sit there for a couple of months. I'm so excited. I really, really am. This has been an adventure for sure. Sometimes eliminating something is an adventure, and that was true for me during this period of time. I've not yet gone into a bookstore, and I don't plan to do that probably for a little while. I may end up going to a bookstore in New Orleans when we go to there again this week. It depends on what time we arrive, but my daughter has some gift cards for a Black-owned bookstore in the city, and I've never been to that one, and so I wouldn't mind going with her to that if that works out. But again, we might end up going too late to be able to do that. But I really want to say that this has been a lot easier than I would have thought it would have been. Most of the time, I am able to find the books that I'm really interested in at the library, or I'm at peace with not getting them right away. But I haven't really had to borrow a whole lot. I've mostly been using what I already have available to me. I've enjoyed that. I have some books that are on hold that I don't own. There's a lot of my summer TBR that everybody else wants to read too. So there's a waiting list for a number of things, but that's okay. I obviously have enough books to choose from all summer long. And I did shelf some of my summer book stacks just because I wanted them all to be together, like in the case of my book of the months and stuff. But overall, I have really just been enjoying being able to pick from that stack. And I, of course, still have the book to pick from my library that I will read, which I did a video on a week or so ago. So that'll be fun. I also have some books that I need to read before the end of the month. And so there's a lot of pressure this month to get some things done. So let's talk about what I'm currently reading and what I'm doing this month and all the bookish things. So my current Kindle book that I did find from my library, and I gasped when this happened, is called A Most Agreeable Murder by Julia Seals. And I heard about this from the Currently Reading podcast. I think it was the Bookish Friends podcast, which is a Patreon group that I belong to. And they were pressing some fun books, mystery murder books into our hands. And this one, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to read this. So I started immediately the search and I found it at my library. I don't know how this one made it past my anticipated reads last June. It just didn't get it. But the blurbs in here for this book, in my ebook, the blurbs are incredible. Like there's so many people who have reviewed this book. Ashley Winstead is one. Modern Mrs. Darcy has recommended it as one of her books, as has Book Riot and a number of other publishers. And just a lot of people are talking about this book and how they enjoyed it. Do I think that every single author and every single publisher reads an entire book? Probably not, but do I like that they read part of it in order to tell me about it? Sure, I absolutely do. Okay, so here's the synopsis. I can't do this justice. So here we go. And it's long, so get a cup of something. When a wealthy bachelor drops dead at a ball, a young lady takes on the decidedly improper role of detective in this action-packed debut comedy of manners and murder. Feisty, passionate Beatrice Steele has never fit the definition of a true lady, according to the strict code of conduct that reigns in Swampshire, her small English township. She's terrible at needlework, has absolutely no musical ability, and her artwork is so bad it frightens people. Nevertheless, she lives a perfectly agreeable life with her marriage-scheming mother, prankster father, and two younger sisters, beautiful Louisa and forgettable Mary. Poor Mary. But she harbors a dark secret. She is obsessed with the true crime cases she reads about in the newspaper. If anyone in her etiquette-obsessed community found out, she'd be deemed a morbid creep and banished from respectable society forever. For her family's sake, she's vowed to put her obsession behind her, because eligible bachelor Edmund Croaksworth is set to attend the approaching autumnal ball, and the Steele family hopes that Louisa will steal his heart. If not, Martin Grubb, their disgusting cousin, will inherit the family's estate, and they will be ruined, or even worse, forced to move to France. So Beatrice must be on her best behavior, which is made difficult when a disgraced yet alluring detective inexplicably shows up at the ball. Beatrice is just holding things together when Croaksworth drops dead in the middle of a minuet. As a storm rages outside, the evening descends in a frenzy of panic, fear, and betrayal as it becomes clear they are trapped with a killer. Contending with competitive card games, tricky tonics, and Swampshire's infamous squelch holes, Beatrice must rise above decorum and decency to pursue justice and her own desires before anyone else is murdered. I mean, really, I don't think you can make a better synopsis than that. It sounds like a closed circle, locked room, perhaps mystery. It sounds delightful. It's perfect for me at this moment because I've been having a little like remorse about not continuing with Bridgerton, because everybody is watching the new season of Bridgerton, including my daughters. And I keep thinking I need to go back and start season 2 and, just really try to get into this again because I'm kind of in the mood for some Bridgerton. And then this shows up. So it's like, okay, maybe I don't have to read Bridgerton first off, but I could start with The Most Agreeable Murder. But I, alas, do have a couple of other things too. I have to start, and I'm excited to start. I shouldn't say I have to start. I need to start In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. This is my buddy read with Berna. We buddy read the Under the Whispering Door earlier this year, and we both decided that the summer would be a perfect time for us to take a look at this. It is fairly well known. It's Giovanni Lawson, a fatherly inventor android, and a pleasantly sadistic nurse machine A Small Vacuum Desperate for Love and Attention, and These Are the Robots, and A Human Named Victor Lawson. I guess there is a bit of from what I understand, there's a bit of a Geppetto kind of Pinocchio scenario, but I don't want to know too much about this, except I want to start it, and I'm ready to do that today. In fact, maybe when I finish filming. Then my nonfiction read, I kind of put off until the last month here, the last 2 weeks of the month, really. So this is Judi Dench, Shakespeare, The Man Who Pays the Rent, which is the one you all picked for me to read this quarter, and it's not terribly long. I'll be able to finish it. I can't even show you because I'm trying to pet her and move at the same time, but I'll be able to finish this pretty quickly, I'm sure. I usually read memoirs very fast, so I have no doubt that that'll happen, but that's physical. And In the Lives of Puppets is also physical for the moment, but I have put a hold on it as an ebook at my library. And then ambitiously, I started looking for a book to listen to that was available at my library, and I ended up choosing The Lincoln Highway, which is, I don't know that you can see it, it's behind me over there, right there. I can't do this well. Oh, look, and then there's Help. It's one of my big books for Big Book Summer. I'd like to read at least one more of those, maybe not this month. And so I thought I will start to listen to that now and then just see. And if I can somehow end up getting puppets on audio, I certainly will try to do that too. But so far, no luck. So that's what I'm currently reading. And I am happy to say that there has only been this one book that really tempted me, and I resisted temptation. So here's what I did. When I was a kid, I had a book called A Treasury of Literary Masterpieces, which I think I've talked about before on my channel when I talked about reading and the favorite books I had when I was a child, maybe, but maybe not. It's just a synopsis of a number of classics that, and I say just, it's a pretty big tome, and it really kind of puts you through these classics in a synopsized way, which is probably not a word, so that you can decide if you want to read the book or not. My sister gave it to me when I was a kid in the sort of hope that I would explore classics and then maybe fall in love with some of them, maybe decide that, yes, I wanted to read them, but also that I would just kind of know what was available and what was, what was the definition of a classic novel and how did I feel about those? And I was honestly hooked. I could not get enough of this book. And I remember reading a lot of books, including Jane Austen's novels and 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and a lot of adventure and romance and set in that that Austen era because of this book. And so one day I was on eBay just checking again to see if they had it, and they did. And yeah, they had a couple of copies. So I could buy it, but I decided not to buy it in that moment. And then when my partner came home that day from work, I showed it to her and said, this would make a great birthday or end of year Christmas gift for me if you wanted something, an idea of something that you could get. And so she said, okay, she would take a look. I'm hoping she took a look and actually bought it. And I did sort of emphasize that this was sort of, hard to find, and that this was really something because I had never found it before. So that is the only time that I almost clicked to buy a book. I did not. And I will say that I feel like for the most part, other than baby shower stuff or Father's Day gifts or things like that, I have been spending less money in general. I think this is benefiting me in more than one way. And honestly, I feel a bit liberated. I feel like I can choose to read anything that is before me in this house, and I can visit my library more, which I really enjoyed doing the other day, and I plan to do again very, very soon. So there's that. In fact, I think I'm going to vlog a tour of some of my library branches that I don't go to as often, and just kind of show you around and perhaps, pick something or learn about something that I didn't know anything about before. So that's on the horizon for me this summer. I have a couple of days off this week. Juneteenth is a holiday for me that I chose to take off, but the company that I do some contract work for is also off, so I don't have any obligations to do anything work related on Wednesday, so that's good. And then I'm also off this coming Friday. That's also making me happy. So by the time you see this video, I will be preparing for my first day off to maybe read all day. Maybe I could even finish one of these books in 1.5 days. That would be amazing. My reading this month has been a little slower than usual. I will say that the big book that I just finished did take up a lot of my time, and we had travel 3 weekends in a row, 2 of those weekends to New Orleans, which it's a bit of a drive there and back. And we did some things, obviously while we were there. So that was, those were days where I didn't get a lot of reading done for sure. And they were weekend days. So that is often the time I read the most. And I've been listening to more podcasts lately because I think I just needed sort of a break sometimes now and again from reading. You'll maybe understand that when I do my wrap up for this month. Generally speaking, I've enjoyed the books I've read this month, but some of them were harder to get through than others. So I'm looking forward to quick reads, enjoyable reads, and some time off to be able to do all the reading that I want to do and not shop for books. So that may be a day that I end up going to some libraries. We'll see. That's a possibility too. I have really enjoyed going through all of my book babies, finding a little place and a little home for them, at least for the moment. I am reorganizing the other stacks that were in other rooms of our house, including one of our hallways. So I'm really trying to get those out. It is a bit of a back bending job, and I'm noticing some pain as a result of climbing up to this top shelf and getting those books up there, and then just up and down and whatnot. But I'm enjoying it. It's fun. I'm really thrilled with the work that my kids really did a great job, and I can't wait for shelf unit number 2 to be completed. It will be much easier the second phase of this project because it doesn't have to be built in. As you can see, we had this mantle, which is where you've seen that before, where my fireplace is. So it had to be squeezed into that space. And so the measurements had to be exactly precise. And then the plywood in the back, we did a lot of staining. You can imagine I did a lot of staining, and I don't look forward to staining the new unit, but it's got to be done. They just did a remarkable job. I'm so grateful for them. I'm so grateful that this project is coming together. And yeah, so I'm going to enjoy being a little bit more present with my books for the next few weeks, maybe months. So, all right, guys, this is my No Buy Challenge wrap up for the first month of the challenge. So excited that I made it through. So excited that this is not as difficult as I had thought that it would be. And so excited to share that with you. If you're on a no buy challenge, or you want to be on a no buy challenge for any length of time and you'd like to join my Discord group, I'm going to leave a link below for you to do that. There is an event there, or whatever they're called, channel something. I don't know. I'm not very good at Discord yet, so bear with me, but there is a no buy challenge area for you to go. So just click on that link, and I may or may not have to invite you, I've discovered. So I'll try to figure that out, but just reach out to me and let me know, and I'll try to make that happen. But it's been really, really fun, and I'm so proud of Melinda from A Web of Stories. Went to Powell's Books in Oregon, which I have been to, and I got to tell you, I couldn't live in Oregon for that reason, because I would have to have a whole house full of just books. But she went to Powell's Books and didn't buy a thing. That is quite a feat. So congratulations, Melinda. You get, like, if I had prizes to give away, you would get a prize. Maybe I'll send you a book. Uh, well done. And then Michelle at Michelle Lynn Reads is also doing the No Buy Challenge, and she's rocking it too. So I'm just happy to help and add you to this group. If you would like to be added, just let me know, and I'll try to make that happen. And thanks for watching today. And as always, happy reading. Bye.